What's up, Barnhill family, and welcome back to your home for all things combat sports.
Yo.
So we got a pay-per-view this weekend, Adesanya versus Strickland. Adesanya almost a 7-1 favorite. Not many people giving Sean much of a chance here, and I think that's largely because everybody's sort of expecting for this to be a stand-up fight, and Israel is so much more dynamic on the feet than Sean is, in my opinion, and Sean doesn't really have that one-punch KO power that you have to watch out for like Izzy did against Pereira.
Right.
So I do think it's going to be an interesting fight. I think it's going to be a fight of who can dictate the range. I think Sean's going to try to back Izzy up. He's very much a methodical, come-forward fighter, and Izzy's going to try to be elusive, as he always is, circling the cage, keeping distance, working a lot of kicks, and picking Sean apart. Ultimately, I'm going to go with Izzy. I'm not going to bury the lead, but what do you think about this fight?
Yeah, I think you're right in saying that Izzy's very good at moving around the entire cage. Whether it's the big one or the small one, he can utilize every inch of space in there. And it's going to be very difficult for Sean to get him pinned up against the cage. And even though we saw Izzy knock out Pereira up against the cage and it felt like he was in a compromised position, he's also had a few moments in several fights where that was his most dangerous position he could have possibly found himself in. And that's probably Sean's best area. That's when he's the most lethal, is when he's got somebody straight up back against the cage and he's able to tee off him in basically a punching, striking range. He's not going to throw a ton of knees. He's not going to throw a ton of elbows. He's going to throw great ones and twos with hooks and body shots mixed in there. But Izzy's so hard to pin down that I see it being a very difficult task for Sean to do that. And I think after about a round or two, Izzy's going to see all of the ways that Sean's going to try to make that happen to get himself into that position. And at that point, it's going to be too late. Izzy's going to know how to stick to his game plan, fight at that kickboxing range, which is just outside of that boxing range that Sean Strickland likes to be in. And as much as I like Sean Strickland, I think that he's great for the sport. He's, a polarizing figure. Some people love him. Some people hate him. Everybody tunes in to watch him fight. I think he's got his hands full, and I think Sean Strickland's going to get added to the KO highlight reel of Izzy Adesanya.
Yeah, I'm going KO as well, and I'm calling a head kick for this one. I think that Sean Strickland operates out of the Philly shell, which is pretty much unheard of in MMA. I mean, the Philly shell, for those that don't know, is literally your front hand is down by your waist and the whole side of your face is exposed. He gets away with it pretty well. I mean, listen, you can't criticize a guy who's in there for a title fight and has won and defeated some excellent fighters fighting out of that stance.
With a great record of 27-5 too.
Exactly, yeah. So he's clearly doing something that works for him, so who am I to say anything critical? Right. But Israel Adesanya's got some sneaky question mark kicks. He's got some whip kicks. He will work the body kick in order to get that head kick that he wants. He sets it up very well. And I think with the way Sean comes forward and the way that front hand is down, Adesanya can finish this fight by head kick knockout. Now, I know that I'm backing myself into a corner with that specific of a prediction, but the point remains, I am predicting Israel Adesanya to win this fight either by knockout or technical knockout. Sean's super tough. Sean's super durable. So I think it'll happen in round 3 or 4. I think it's going to, the first couple rounds, Sean's just going to bite down on his mouthpiece and try to make things interesting. But ultimately, Adesanya will find his shot. He will get the finish come round 3, come round 4.
Yeah, and everybody knows Izzy and Sean are both great at pacing themselves. So I see this going into the championship rounds. And also, you said that he's tough and durable. Sean Strickland is definitely both of those things, but I think he is a little bit more tough than he is durable. And while he's been able to take a lot of shots from a lot of great strikers in his professional MMA career, he hasn't really been able to withstand the stuff coming out of Alex Pereira, and I think the same could be said about Izzy. Izzy's just as lethal with his strikes as Alex Pereira. He may not look like that really crazy, scary figure that Pereira is, but his strikes are just as lethal, and I think he's a little bit more of a precision striker. Sean Strickland's going to have his hands full. He's going to be needing to watch every single limb that Izzy has to throw, because Izzy throws everything so well from so many weird angles. And just when you think you're out of the range and out of danger of one of Izzy's tools, he reminds you that you're right in range, and he puts you right where he wants you, sets you up all night, gets all of his reads he needs, is never too quick to start to try to expose you. And he can take all 25 minutes of a fight to get exactly what he needs to collect all the data and look for those late finishes. That's why I'm going Izzy Adesanya. I don't know. I think it'll probably be something to do with his hands, because he does like to get in there and mix it up with people and do what they do, but do it better than they do. So I think he's going to want to finish Strickland with his hands, because he knows that if Strickland were to get a finish on him, it would be with his hands rather than his feet. So I think Izzy's going to use his kicks and his legs a lot in this fight, and then later towards the end, he's going to try to put a little bit of a boxing clinic on Sean Strickland.
Well, Izzy also said that he's going to have his nails freshly painted for this fight, too. So I think, because Sean poked fun at that, you may be right that he wants to catch him with the hands with the painted nails. So that's just a little psychology that may happen there. And it's a great point that you said about Sean potentially not being able to hold up to that one-punch KO power. And not many people think about Izzy when they think about one-punch KO power, but notwithstanding the kickboxing match, that was a different thing a long time ago, but just their MMA matches between Pereira and Adesanya, only one of them starched the other with a single punch, and it was Izzy starching Alex. Alex's finish was a great finish. I don't want to take anything away from that, and I personally think that was a good stoppage by the ref, but Izzy didn't hit the ground. Alex Pereira fell like a ton of bricks when Adesanya hit him, and I think Adesanya doesn't get enough credit sometimes for his finishing ability, because throughout a couple-year period there, I don't want to say he was playing it safe, but he was just doing what he needed to do to rack up title defenses and retain that belt. But it seems now that Izzy's kind of, he's got a different motivation. He doesn't just want to beat people. He's already pretty much beaten everybody. I think he wants to win, and he wants to win emphatically, and I think he's going to do it down in Australia this Saturday night.
Yeah, and it's such a breath of fresh air to see the most active champion in the UFC being the biggest star in the UFC, being the guy who's best on the mic, inside the cage, outside the cage, everything. He checks all the boxes. But this is a special event for Sean Strickland, too, and I'm really happy he's getting this opportunity.
Can't wait.